Take from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
And I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
Whoa, hey!
Yeah, sorry, I was scrolling on my phone. I was like, there's this boring part where Darren's introducing himself. I don't need to listen to this. And then suddenly I was like, oh shit, it's time for my line.
Blah, blah, blah. When is it my turn to talk?
Yeah. Dumb, 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 my part. Dumb, 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 my part.
Yep, folks, that's how we've been doing it for the past 5 years.
Yep.
That's how the sausage is made.
That's right, baby.
We zone each other out until we hear that gap in space, and then we fill it up with our own babble.
With our pure vocal gold. Yeah,
right.
The bloom is off the rose is what we're trying to say, folks.
Exactly. Yes, the bloom rose. Yeah.
It actually came up in my Facebook feed today, in my little memory section, that apparently 10 years ago today was the day we befriended each other on Facebook.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Aww. The list goes up where we belong.
With the eagles fly. See, I actually know the next line of that song.
On a mountain high.
Yeah, see, that part I wouldn't know.
Yeah, come on.
This is why I usually don't join in on singing, because I don't remember lyrics that well.
Okay. All right. Well,
and also, people don't need to hear me sing.
I think people love to. That's probably one of the first times I've heard you sing on the podcast in a while, though. Like
I don't do it often because I'm usually not confident in my knowledge of the lyrics.
Wow. Well, I mean, listeners, you got like a special treat here. You got to hear Mr. Trumbull belt out a few tunes. You got to hear him croon a tune.
Because I am a perfectionist, and if I cannot do the lyrics perfectly, I would rather leave it completely undone.
Absolutely. You're like
which explains not only why I don't sing a lot, it explains a lot about my life, quite frankly. But
yeah, exactly. You're a perfectionist at heart. You're like Prince. You're the Prince of this podcast. I've said it time and time again.
In that I can't grow a decent mustache.
Wow! Damn! Shots fired at the king. All right.
Well, I mean, come on. That thing never really came in all the way.
It never did. It always kind of stayed like John Waters' pencil thin. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But maybe he wasn't trying to grow like a big bushy mustache.
Maybe he didn't want that. Maybe I shouldn't assume what Prince was going for with his facial hair. I mean, the man was a genius.
I'm sure if he wanted like a big Sam Elliott, he could have it if he wanted it. But
that would seem wrong. That would just be weird. Prince with a big Sam Elliott mustache? That's weird.
Yeah, think about that, people. Put that in your mind.
I mean, part of me wants to Photoshop that, and part of me is like, oh, no, God, that would be like an eldritch abomination. That would like open up a portal to hell if I did that.
Exactly. Prince, he would open up the hellmouth with that. Like, just, him and a big mustache, that big, deep Sam Elliott voice.
Him with that Sam Elliott voice. That would be, that's just wrong.
Let's go crazy. Let's get nuts.
Anywho, welcome to the podcast, folks. This is what we do. We go off on the, these weird tangents like this, and then sometimes we also talk about Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, but sometimes the tangents are better than the episode, which might be the case in this one, because today we're talking about the Dakota Johnson and Justin Timberlake episode.
Yes, this is season 49, episode 10, episode air date January 27th, 2024. Returning host Dakota Johnson for her second hosting gig. She last did it, I think, about 9 years ago after the 40th anniversary show.
She did it in I believe 2015 with musical guest Alabama Shakes.
Alabama Shakes, yes, which I vaguely remember that, and I also remember that she wasn't all that great of a host back then, which is probably why it took them 9 years to bring her back, and then only because she has a movie that the movie studio is pushing really hard.
Yeah, so she's here to promote Madam Web, and and then
whoa. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. And
I legally have to do that whenever a Sony non-Spider-Man movie is mentioned.
Oh no, absolutely! It makes total sense. Like this movie coming out,
Wait, what was the movie again?
Madam Web. Okay, there we go.
Sorry.
Oh
Yeah,
my
sorry
god.
about that.
Yeah, just be careful. I don't want you spitting on your own the floors in your own
Oh
home.
no. I'm turning my head.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't want to get all that. Yeah, I don't want to wreck my keyboard.
Yeah. I could say something about a filthy joke right now, but I won't because I'm a class.
You could,
I
but
won't. I won't. I won't even go there. I won't.
yeah, no. Everyone's like filling in that joke themselves.
Filling in. So, cold open.
Are we jumping right into the show? You were talking about another thing like before we started
Oh,
recording.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, they're doing this movie called SNL 1975, and it's about I think either them putting together Saturday Night Live or like the first season of Saturday Night Live. I'm not entirely clear which it's about.
Okay. I believe it's like the first night. It might be like a one night thing.
Okay, all right. So we're doing like an Aaron Sorkin thing where it's like, oh, this is the whole tale on, but behind this one episode, the premiere episode of Saturday Night
Right.
Live.
According to what I'm seeing here, it's a true story of what happened behind the scenes that night in the moments leading up to the first broadcast of NBC's SNL. It
Okay,
depicts the chaos and magic of a revolution that almost wasn't, counting down the minutes in real time to the infamous words live from New York. It's Saturday night.
okay. So we're gonna have it's directed by Jason Reitman, co-written by Jason Reitman, and also Gil Keenan. I'm seeing, and they've
Mhm.
announced some of the casting for this. We've got Gabriel LaBelle as Lorne Michaels. We've got Rachel Sennett as Rosie Schuster, who was one of the original SNL writers, and she was also Lorne's wife at the time, if I remember correctly.
Oh my.
She was Lorne's wife and Dan Aykroyd's girlfriend.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because it's the 1970s. That's how they rolled, man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Um,
All right.
we got Cooper Hoffman as Dick Ebersol. Cooper Hoffman was the guy in what was that movie? Licorice Pizza.
Oh,
And
right. Yes.
he's
Philip Seymour's kid.
yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid. And just this week they announced who are who are playing the three female cast members of the SNL original Not Ready for Primetime Players. We got Kim Batula as Jane Curtin, Ella Hunt as Gilda Radner, and Emily Fairn. I hope I'm saying that correctly, as Lorraine Newman. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think the movie's going to be focusing more on the behind the scenes people than the original cast. But so who knows how big these parts are? But I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, as somebody who loves to know about the lore of SNL and all that, like I'm pretty interested in all this. Like I know I saw a lot of people on Twitter were saying, "Oh, how come they didn't get Hannah Einbinder to play Lorraine Newman?" Lorraine Newman's actual daughter, because she's
That
like,
seems a little too on the nose,
yeah, I think that's maybe why they didn't go
Yeah,
that route. I
and
mean,
also, would Hannah Einbinder even want to do that?
yeah, that's true. I mean,
I mean,
because
what's the upside for her?
yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, you could say, well, didn't Ice Cube's son play Ice Cube in the Straight Outta Compton film? Well, which he
Mhm.
did. But yeah, it's a thing. It might be a thing where Hannah just doesn't want to do that. Want to kind of maybe separate herself from her mom as much as
Yeah,
possible. Be
yeah.
her own person.
And I did see Lorraine Newman post positively about Emily Fairn on Twitter. She was like, "Oh yeah, I just saw her in this thing, and yeah, she'll be great." So Lorraine Newman's cool with it, so therefore
Yeah,
I'm cool with it. So
yeah, she'll be cool with it. I'm cool with it. So far, all the casting seems pretty good.
yeah,
Like I don't have
I'm
any.
I'm the only person I really knew in a big way is Kim Matula because she was on that quickly canceled sitcom L.A. to Vegas, where
Yes.
where she was a flight attendant, and Dylan McDermott was on there, and that was a funny show that was unfortunately canceled very very quickly, but she was very funny, so I'm looking forward to seeing her play Jane Curtin.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I actually kind of like that they're getting kind of not that big of names to play all these parts because like that way you kind of are able
Yeah,
to believe them more as the characters they're playing. Like if they got some big name playing, Aykroyd, there
right.
you would just be like, oh, that's just a big name. doing an Aykroyd impression.
Yeah, yeah, it takes you out of it a little bit. Yeah, it's always tricky when you're casting a lot of famous people because like there's always that part of your brain that's just going, that's not what they look like.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
thought they did, in the movie about what's his face from the National Lampoon, um, guy Will Forte played.
Oh, Doug Kenny.
Yeah, the Duck Kenny movie, A Futile and Stupid Gesture. Um, I thought they did a nice job of casting a lot of SNL and National Lampoon people in that. And
Yeah, I mean Tom Lennon as Michael O'Donoghue's pretty spot on.
that was brilliant. They used uh, Rick Glassman as Harold Ramis. I thought that was pretty good. And Joel McHale as Chevy Chase that was a fucking brilliant choice.
That was very good. I mean, Natasha Lyonne as Ann Beats, that was pretty
Hmm.
spot on. Like they really nailed the casting in that one for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Hats off to David Wayne and his casting people for that movie. So, and it looks like this movie's shaping up in a similarly good way, and I look forward to seeing who they cast as the other people. And I'm
Yes.
also interested, like how big of parts are all the SNL people going to play in this? So
Yeah, really interesting to see interested in seeing how this is gonna pan out. Like, is it all just gonna
mhm.
be about the people who built it and made it, or is it gonna focus on the cast as well, or a mix of both?
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be more about the behind the scenes people, and we will just see like the cast come in once in a while. And I hope they don't do that thing that they did in the John Belushi Wired movie, where
Oof.
they just make up similar sketches
Oh yeah.
that weren't really like instead of Samurai Delicatessen, it's like Samurai Umpire, and they had the Blues Brothers singing a song that they never did on the show or something like that. It was just like
Yeah.
SNL with the serial numbers filed off. It was
I
weird.
yeah, I'm a soulful guy.
Yeah,
Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. It's like an Aldi version of Soul Man. I was like, Jesus, what the God,
yeah.
that movie was really just
It's
wow.
such a weird movie. Such a
Woo!
weird movie. Yeah. We watched Wired in the first year of this podcast, and wow, that
Yeah.
is one nutty movie.
I knew going in that it would be like a weird bad movie, but like I still wasn't ready for just
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck was that?
the,
Jesus. Oh
the Puerto Rican angel cab driver
God, what the
showing John Belushi the highlights of his life,
like what the fuck? What was what?
and also like Bob Woodward investigating John Belushi's life. So I'm like, why does this movie have two framing devices? What's
Yeah,
that about?
yeah, like some of the choices made in this film are just
It's the weirdest thing. So I mean,
baffling.
this SNL 1975 movie. It's got to be better than Wired, right?
It's gotta be. They got
It's
nowhere to
got
go
to be.
but up.
I mean, I
Yeah.
wish I. It's too bad that it's just only about the first year because then we can't have a Bill Murray character in it, and therefore we can't see the great Bill Murray Chevy Chase fight where Bill Murray screams medium talent at Chevy Chase.
Maybe if this film does well, we'll get that sequel, and that's where we'll get that
I would I
that
would
that
love that.
that piece of history, that beautiful piece of NFL, not NFL, and SNL history.
Yeah. Oh, and NFL history, if you think about it, really. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of NFL, cold open. Aha.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Okay. Guess we're done talking about that. All right. Fine. Okay.
No, I didn't have anything else to say, but yeah, it looks really good, and so
Yeah.
far I'm looking very much forward to it.
Yeah. I hope it just occurred to me. Like, I wonder if they'll, because like supposedly Billy Crystal got cut from the first episode of SNL. I wonder if
Mm.
they'll cast a Billy Crystal so he gets cut at the last minute.
Oh, maybe.
I wonder if they'll cast a George Carlin. Well, we have an AI George Carlin in this.
Oh God, don't even. Again, what was that? Oof.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't listened to any of it. I don't want to listen to any of it. But
No, me
it's just
neither.
like, no, this thing should not exist. And
Yeah.
speaking of things that should not exist,
Heyo!
the NFL Championship cold open.
Yay! Yeah, cold open. So basically, we have the a CBS NFL show, and they're talking about the upcoming football games, and
Yeah,
it's focusing
we
on.
got the AFC Championship. We got James Austin Johnson as Dismukes as the hosts. We got Kansas City versus the Baltimore Ravens, and Dismukes is like, well, this is like the last real football game because the Super Bowl doesn't really count because all the people who don't watch football the rest of the season watch that,
Right. That's
and it's
yeah,
yeah, it's more about the commercials and the halftime show, and
exactly.
it's a big advertisement.
Yeah. So, because well, as we're recording this, it's Sunday now. So basically, so that today they're gonna have two football games, and depending on who
Hmm.
wins those two football games, is gonna go to the Super Bowl or the Superb Owl.
The Superb
And
Owl, yes,
yeah,
big fan of
and
the Superb Owl. Yeah,
yeah. So the football season is coming to a close, and the whole sketch is basically centered around the fact that these announcers are kind of coming to grips with the fact that, like, oh wow, football's ending.
yeah,
Now what do we do with our lives? And like,
yeah.
which I mean, as a premise, I don't hate. It's not a bad jumping off
No, it's a
point.
decent premise. I mean, I like that Dismukes' character just sort of starts to have an existential crisis. He's like, after this, it's just nothing. And then they cut to the other hosts of the NFL, and they're like, what are we supposed to do with our Sundays now? I mean, and guys, real men record their SNL podcasts on Sundays.
Damn
That's what
straight.
real men do on Sundays.
That's right. Man up, Phil Sims.
Yeah.
I did like that one joke where I think one of them said, "Yeah, like football is like the one thing we all watch, together live." And then
Hmm.
James Brown, played by Keenan, says, "Yeah, no, it's like the one thing that all of us watch live while it's happening because
Yeah.
no other live TV is even remotely watchable."
Yes, I wrote that line down too, and I was like, "Oh, so Keenan saw last week's SNL." Okay,
Damn, homie.
I still haven't forgiven. Um,
Woo!
yeah, and then it ends with the casting and auto tuned "When I See You Again." Only that's when there's football again. Yeah, again, I like the basic premise of this. I feel like it didn't. I didn't feel like it didn't escalate in a big way. It didn't seem quite strong enough to be a cold open to me. But
Yeah, like I thought it would. Again, like I do like the premise, but yeah, it's like you said, like the escalation wasn't there. I thought they'd be going like bigger with it, or
mhm.
maybe even looking more deeper into it. Because yeah, like for a lot of people, a lot of football fans, this Sunday is the last kind of time you get to see real football.
Right,
Because
right.
like they even say, yeah, no one, everybody watches the Super Bowl. That's when people watch it for Marvel trailers and commercials and whatnot. It's like
Which
more of
I
an
mean,
event.
I'm one of those people. I'm one
Yep.
of those people. I'll watch the Super Bowl, but I'll pay more attention to the commercials than the actual game. Because
Deadpool 3 trailer, baby. We're almost there.
is that going to premiere? See, now I'm excited.
I've I,
Um,
I've heard rumors it's gonna
okay,
come, so, but I don't know for sure.
well that'll be fun. Yeah, maybe they could have gotten into like what they're all going to do on the off season. Like some of them pick up real hobbies. Like I don't know, somebody gets into macrame or whatever.
Yeah, like
Just take it in some weird directions. Like, how are you going to fill the time on your Sundays now that there's no football?
yeah,
You
like
know,
I felt like they could have gone harder with it with this premise. I mean, I applaud SNL for not doing another political cold open, but like I feel like
yeah,
there's a good premise here. Just I feel like it needs to be mined more for good ideas. I will admit though, like I did like the one line Devin Walker had where he said, "Yeah, like this is time to be with our family, and not counting my wife and three kids. I mean, you guys are the only family I got."
yeah. I mean, that was cute. I didn't hate this. I just felt like it could have gone a little further. So
Yeah, and it seemed like the audience really wasn't into it too. They got
yeah,
into it more as they were singing that song that was in the Fast and Furious movie, "When I See You Again." But even then, like it seemed like everybody was kind of off with that. Like I don't know, the auto tunes kind of seemed kind of in and out, and it seemed like a few people missed their cues a little bit.
yeah. It didn't
And
it
like,
didn't have a great deal of energy, but
yeah,
I didn't realize that song was from the Fast and Furious movies. Was that what they were playing when like the CGI Paul Walker was driving off into the sunset?
it was. I mean, I haven't seen them that Fast and Furious movie, but I know for a fact, yeah, that's when they played that. That song was
Oh,
playing.
okay.
That song was like It was in the movie that came out after Paul Walker died, so
Right,
they had
right.
like a
And they
little,
had like his brother, and they kind of CGI'd his brother into like looking like Paul Walker
yeah, which is
because he was like in the middle of shooting that movie when he passed.
yes,
When he was very tragically killed in that accident.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So like basically that song was in that that movie
okay,
as a tribute to him.
yeah, I just know it from seeing it in like trailers and commercials and things like that. So I didn't know that that was where it first came from. Okay,
Right, right. It is. But but yeah, yeah. So far,
what was that?
uh,
You getting a call?
yeah, that was my phone. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, who's calling you, Darren?
It's my mom. I'll call her back later.
Okay.
Sorry. I mean, I have my phone just to like check up like notes and shit, but I forgot to put this on mute, which I will do right now.
I think that is the first time that has ever happened in the 5 years we've been recording this
I'm
podcast. That
I'm
where,
normally a
where
professional, but
yeah,
all of the apologies. But yeah, this cold open it it a little bit better than last week, but it still wasn't still didn't quite get to where it should have gotten to, I thought.
yeah, yeah, I agree. All right, monologue.
Monologue. Monologue. Uh
Uh, Dakota Johnson comes out, gives a monologue.
yeah, yeah. So she
What did
basically
I write down for this? She mentioned Madam Web,
yeah. Uh
and she said, you know, it also stars Sydney Sweeney, so it's like if AI generated your boyfriend's perfect movie. Which,
uh
um,
hmm. Yeah, she also mentioned that she was at the SNL 40th.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm sorry. I still just can't get past this. You know, Madam
It's
Web being someone's perfect movie. It's like, no, if you were
it's
generating like my perfect movie, it would not be fucking Madam Web. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
think this thing is gonna bomb so fucking hard.
it is. Like no one's excited for it, no one's looking forward to it. No one
Yeah, it's just
I
a thing we have to endure and then mock and
yeah, like I really don't see it doing great. Even though like, Sydney Sweeney is like, the hot new actress that
Mhm.
everybody likes. I don't see like I don't hear anybody talking about this online. Like I don't hear anybody saying, "Hey, oh my god, new Madam Web movie's coming out to you. You excited,
No,
guys?"
I'm only hearing people mention it to dunk on it,
Yeah,
like when oh, my mom was researching spiders in the Amazon before she died, and that is apparently a line. That's a line that was in the actual trailer, and I just remember everybody on Twitter dunking on that.
it's a
And
weird. Yeah, it's a weird line.
there was some clip that I saw yesterday where Sydney Sweeney was like, "Oh yeah, I had to dangle upside down at some point in the movie because like in like the Julia Carpenter Spider Woman, she's dangling upside down a lot. So I was like, yeah, I had to dangle upside down in the movie. And I'm just like, really? That's what we're excited about in this movie? Okay,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
think I remember seeing somewhere like even Dakota Johnson said not disparaging, but she said like how weird it was that they were shooting with a blue screen and it's absolutely
Yeah,
psychotic that they did that.
yeah. And she's like, what are we even doing here? What are we even making? And
So
it's
even
like,
she's like, yeah, this is kind of bullshit.
look, inside of like 2 years, when she's allowed to speak freely about this movie, she'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that was a train wreck when I was doing it.
Yeah. All right. So
I guarantee you.
In Entertainment Weekly, Dakota Johnson said, "I've never really done a movie where you are on a blue screen and there's fake explosions going off, and someone's going explosion, and you act like there's an explosion. That to me was absolutely psychotic. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be good at all. I hope that I did an
Yeah.
okay job."
That's and
So,
this is what she's saying when she's promoting the movie, which is hilarious to me.
sorry.
Um,
Madam Web out in a few weeks, people.
so yeah, yeah, and I feel like if AI generated your boyfriend's perfect movie with Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney, they probably wouldn't be playing superheroes. They'd probably be doing other things.
Oh,
That's all I'll say.
hey now,
That's all I'll say.
justify my love.
Um, and then let's see. She showed a clip. She and I guess her next joke was sort of like that because like she says like I say things to reporters and then they write them down. So is she like infamous for giving bad quotes in interviews? I don't even know.
Well, I mean, Dakota Johnson, and you see it in the episode. She's kind of known
Wooden?
for she's kind of known for having a very kind of dry sense of humor and being kind of like her vibe is very
Yeah,
kind of
they
like
kept trying to play it like that, like oh, she's very dry, she's very deadpan, and I'm like, no, she's just wooden.
that's it, wooden. That's the word. Yeah,
Yeah,
like in the upcoming sketch, they kind of compare her to Aubrey Plaza, and like I can kind of see that, but I think Aubrey Plaza even has a little bit more charisma and charm than.
no, Aubrey Plaza knows her way around a joke from this and her previous SNL hosting gig. No, Dakota Johnson is just not funny.
Yeah, yeah. Like we're all right. We're kind of we're sharing a little bit earlier, listeners, but yeah, this Dakota Johnson was not the best host for
No, she's
this,
not. She was just
but
yeah, and
but
I feel like they kind of knew that.
yeah, but like I felt like they should have like written. They knew that, but kind of should have written towards that, but they didn't. But yeah,
This
but
this feels like this was a host that was kind of forced on them by the studio or something like that.
it really did. It felt like Lauren was like, I made a deal with Sony, and they
Yeah,
will.
like Sony was like, "Hey, we really want to play the new Madam Web trailer on SNL. Can we have somebody from the movie host?" And Lauren was like, "Well, we could have Sydney Sweeney." And they were like, but we have somebody else from Euphoria hosting the week before." And they were like, "How do you feel about Dakota Johnson?" And Lauren was like, "Okay,
I guess like Sydney Sweeney would have made a more sense. I think she would have. She has a little bit more comedic chops and likability than Dakota. But I don't know. I feel like I'm sounding like a jerk, but it's
yeah."
whew,
Well, not all hosts are created equal. I
yeah.
feel like Sydney Sweeney probably could have done a better job. I feel like Adam Scott would have freaking killed it, but they probably wanted to have one of the women from Madam Web host because
Oh
you know
yeah,
they're female leads.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, so
But
I get that, but yeah, Dakota Johnson's just not. It's not an exciting choice for a host, and not.
no,
I,
like
I, I don't get the Dakota Johnson thing. I've just never really seen her appeal.
yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like I've seen, of course, she's done the 50 Shades of Grey movies and other
Yeah,
movies. She was in The Social Network with Justin Timberlake, which they bring up in the monologue when.
she was. Yeah, she mentioned that it was like a reunion with Justin Timberlake, and then but they just mention it, and they don't even show a still from it, and they
Nope,
certainly don't show a clip. So I'm like, did
nope,
nobody want to pay for the clip?
nope.
Did
That I,
nobody want to pay for the rights to show a still from that movie
that
just
actually
to
surprised
refresh
me.
people's
Yeah,
memories? Yeah.
yeah, that surprised me. They mentioned that. Oh yeah, we were in the movie together, and then that's it. They don't like go into the scene they were into together, or even show a clip. They're just like, oh yeah, we
No.
were in The Social Network.
No context. What's
Nope,
that? And
nope, no content.
that movie was a number of years ago now. Maybe refresh people's memories because she's in like literally one scene of that movie.
Yeah, but whatever. Let's keep it moving.
I don't know. I just and then we have Justin Timberlake coming out and just where he's like, "Hey, I'm ready to step in and be in sketches,"
And they're
because
like,
he's a very popular SNL host.
yeah, and yeah, so he's like, okay, yeah, I'm around if you need me, and then we have Jimmy Fallon come out dressed as Barry Gibb, and it's like, oh, are we doing it? We're doing a sketch. Are we doing it? It's great.
I saw somebody say earlier today. I think this was on a YouTube video I was watching this morning. They said that Jimmy Fallon is like a golden retriever in human form. And I'm like, yeah, that sums it up very well. Yeah,
No, that's very apt. He's just
yeah,
always just happy to be there, always ready to chase the ball.
yeah.
He's just like just big and dumb and lovable and full of energy. Like, yeah, yeah, all right,
and
great.
and bad at interviewing.
Yeah.
Um,
Ooh, damn. But I thought it was like when he came out dressed as Barry Gibb. Did you think this too? Where you thought, all right, he's out dressed as Barry Gibb for the Barry Gibb talk show, so they're obviously not going to do it because it wouldn't make sense for them to ruin the surprise and have
yeah,
him come out. So like this is like a nice little joke about, oh hey,
or or yeah, if he's going to come out in costume, you then go straight into the Barry Gibb talk show.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you do one of those two things. Yeah, it's weird that they come out and they make a joke out of him being ready to go with the Barry Gibb talk show, and then like a couple sketches later, we do the Barry Gibb talk show.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the sketch that we get before like the very first sketch of the night, which
Yeah,
we'll get there.
I don't
But
know. Yeah, I see. Okay, I watched the I watched the show on Peacock this morning, the day after, because I am an old and I'm falling asleep earlier these days. So I was spoiled on Twitter that they did the Barry Gibb talk show, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's going to be a thing I'm watching in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there wasn't any suspense for me about whether they were doing the Barry Gibb talk show.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, the monologue, um, I don't know. I felt like they kind of knew that Dakota would need some help with the monologue, so that's why they had Fallon
Yeah,
and Timberlake come out.
yeah,
Um,
they got in a couple ringers. They showed her like rolling her eyes as a kid on the red carpet with Don Johnson, her dad, Don Johnson.
yeah.
Is she Don and Melanie's kid?
She's what now?
She's Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith's kid, right?
Yes.
Those are okay. I wasn't sure if her mother was different. I
No,
knew
no,
she was
that's
Don Johnson's kid, but
no, that's that Nepo truce joke that comes in with the
yeah, no,
puppet.
I knew she had like one. I knew Don Johnson was her dad. I wasn't sure if Melanie Griffith was her mom.
Right. And actually, I didn't even like realize until I looked it up. But like Melanie Griffith is also a Nepo baby too. Like her mom is.
Tippi
Uh,
Hedren.
yeah, I didn't even know that. So like
Yeah,
Dakota's like the Nepo baby of a Nepo baby.
she's a third generation Nepo baby.
It's like,
That's so she's like the Ultron of Nepo babies.
it's like Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah, and oh, who was it? There's some other actress who's around who's like Elvis's grandkid.
Oh, really?
I can't remember who it is now.
Elvis is. I'll look that up. But yeah.
Yeah,
But this monologue, yeah, it felt like they knew they needed to pad it. Like you said, like they showed
mhm.
some video clips of her as a kid, so endear them to the audience. There was that
I mean,
one.
you can't really do the humble beginnings thing with a Nepo baby, though.
Yeah, I guess
It's like,
not.
here's my humble beginning: walking the red carpet with my father, Don Johnson.
Yeah, I guess you're. I
Bro,
guess
you
that.
come so far.
Yeah, you know what? When you're right, you're right.
I mean, that just occurred to me. Like, that's the closest thing to humble beginning she has.
I'm just
Uh,
like you guys.
uh, because like when Pedro Pascal was on, he was like, "Oh, here's this movie that we shot in my backyard by our pool," and my dad's like cleaning the pool in the background.
Oh boy.
And Dakota Johnson doesn't really have that.
Yeah.
And we had Jacob Elordi last week, and he was like, "Hey, I've been acting for 7 years," and I'm just like, "Oh, fuck you."
Yeah. What the fuck is going on here with all these? I don't know. But yeah, like it,
Like maybe don't do the humble beginnings thing if the people haven't paid their dues.
yeah. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Um. Okay. Oh, and also Elvis's granddaughter,
Yeah.
Riley Keough, is the name of the actress. Uh,
Yeah.
who was in The Good Doctor, Magic Mike, and Mad Max Fury Road. That's Elvis's
Okay.
granddaughter. Yeah.
I saw Riley Keough in something recently, and I can't remember what now. But anyway,
Uh,
didn't she win an Emmy or something like that? That must have been it.
got a
She
she
won,
got
she
a
won something at the Golden Globes or the Emmys, I think.
yeah, she got a nomination for Daisy Jones and the Six.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it stuck in my head because I was like, wait, she's Elvis's grandkid, and yeah. So
She is Elvis's grandkid. Yes.
all right. Okay. Thank you for answering that brain fart.
Yes. But yeah, monologue. I I ain't loving it. My confidence is shaky at this point.
Yeah, and we got writing credits for the monologue. We got Mike DeCenzo, Jimmy Fowley, Allison Gates, Jake Nordwind, and Sierra O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
So we got 5 people right
All
there,
right.
monologue.
5 people to make that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Moving right along. Waiters.
Waiters.
Yeah.
We got.
I'll. I'll. Do you want?
We got Sarah Sherman taking a family's orders at a restaurant. The family's like, "Hey, don't you want to write this down?" She's like, "Hey, I've been working here for 15 years. I haven't. Don't worry. I've been working here forever. I haven't written down an order in 15 years." And then she proceeds to get the order all wrong.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm scatterbrained today." And the dad wants a shrimp scampi, mom wants like California club, and
Oh, don't make me relive it.
okay, and they for the kid they want chicken fingers, and but she repeats it back as, "Oh, okay, you want the Scooby scampi and chicken fingers for the little guy," and like that's it. And then Dakota Johnson comes out as the manager. She'll take the
Yeah,
order. She doesn't write it down, and she gets it
yeah.
wrong again, repeating it back.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's my first day as manager," and Dakota Johnson's like blowing lines and obviously reading off cue cards, and
Yeah,
yeah,
like
this is pretty awful.
it really like when she came in, like the energy, she kind of sucked the energy out.
The energy really dipped when she came in because like her timing was off, and it just
It
yeah.
it
There
was
were like pauses you could drive a truck through.
yeah, like you could really hear the audience being like, "What?"
Yeah, you
Like
really felt the energy just deflate.
a lot of sound, and they also did a thing where the family that the waiters are taking the order from, it's like a family reunion. They're the Mason family, but uh,
Oh yeah, they keep
sh-
calling him Charles Manson.
the
Yeah, they're saying
Manson
the
family.
Manson family.
So you get some.
And it's one of the and they do that joke early on, so I'm like, okay. So again, it's like this weird muddled thing, which I'm seeing a lot of on SNL lately. It's like, are we making jokes about you thinking they're the Manson family, or is the joke the getting the orders wrong?
I I think maybe they put in that Manson family thing to kind of get some laughs in case the them getting the order wrong didn't get enough laughs. So then maybe they kind of pad, but neither one got laughs. So
Yeah,
they're just like their backup just also conked out on them too. So it's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, there was like no escalation in this sketch, and it was just like, what is happening with this? Like I was like,
Well, I mean, the thing that was so stupefying to me was like, this is your first sketch after the monologue.
the
What the heck
first
is going on?
sketch.
This should be like your best thing of the night, and you're putting this up at the top of the show. I'm just
Like
wow,
this was yeah,
wow.
this was dire. I was like,
It was yeah, it was awful.
woo. I mean, I always try to be positive about sketches, like hey, maybe there's some funny stuff here, but this like I was halfway through, I was like, where is this going? What
Yeah,
is why
this
is
is the type of sketch like you watch the first half of it, and then you start puttering around the house. You're like, oh, I should really tackle those dishes. They're still soaking in the sink from dinner.
I should really do anything else than watch this sketch.
Do I need to vacuum? Oh, it's like 11:45 at night. I probably shouldn't because that would disturb the neighbors.
But
Maybe
yeah,
I'll just do a little picking up around the living room. Maybe I'll just do that.
yeah, and again, and towards the end, they threw in Keenan as the chef, like maybe hoping he would pick up the energy or do something with it, but he
Yeah,
doesn't.
bringing in Keenan late, that's the mark of true desperation in an
Yes,
SNL sketch.
the last refuge of
Because
a
they're always
scamp.
like, Keenan will save it.
Keenan, we need you. Come to our rescue.
Yeah, and it works like maybe 50% of the time now, but
Yeah,
they still keep doing it. They're still convinced that Keenan coming in late is just automatic gold.
yeah. So like at the very end of the sketch, the waitress agrees to write it down, and the family is getting more and more frustrated. They say the order again, and then she say, "Hey, could you say that again? Because instead of writing your order down, I actually drew a picture of you."
Yeah,
And the sketch
yeah, and
ends.
it's a picture of Molly, and it's got a filter on it to make it look like a black and white pencil
Yeah,
rendering of her
I
of
was,
them.
yeah, I was like, "The fuck is this? This was
Yeah, just going for some absurd. Yeah, it just didn't work. I don't know what else to say about it.
it did not. I'm at
It
this
just
point. I'm
didn't
getting
work.
very nervous.
Yeah, yeah.
Very nervous. I was like, uh oh,
All right. So
oh,
next we got a pre-tape called Home Videos.
home videos.
Home Videos. I do have writing credits for this. This is Dan Beulah, Stephen Castillo, and Jimmy Fowley. Got Andrew Dismukes sitting down with his mom and dad, played by Dakota Johnson, Mikey Day. They're going through old VHS tapes of family memories, like his first soccer game and stuff like that. And he finds a tape that says "big announcement." He's like, "Oh, what's this?" And dad's like, oh well, that's the day I found out I was a father. And they put the tape in, and they start playing it, and it's a Maury Povich type show where
Right.
it's like, you are not the father.
Exactly. It's instead of Maury Povich, it's Corey Dervich.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see how Andrew's mom and dad were back in the day, and it's again, it's all the Maury Povich tropes where the
Yeah,
mom is dressed very scantily clad, and the dad's
yeah,
like, "Yo, I ain't that baby's father. That ain't my
yeah.
kid."
And she's like, she sleeps around. She's very proud about it. And she's like, going out to the audience and like, oh, well, look at how hot I am. I gotta, yeah.
Yeah, we
Um,
we find out the two of them met at a backyard wrestling event.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then we also find out that the baby might also belong to the mom's co-worker at GameStop, Zach Barbacano, aka Spooky.
Yeah, played by Marcelo, and Marcelo comes out and he's got the because on those old shows like Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, everybody played up to the audience and they were like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and the audience is encouraged to boo and all that. We find out that Spooky was also sleeping with her mother, who is played by Sarah Sherman,
Yeah.
in both on both the tape and in the present day, and she's like adorable grandma in a wheelchair in the present day, and
Oh yeah,
uh,
and back on the tape, she's like, you slept with me and my daughter," and
mm-hmm.
then the daughter's like, "Come on, fight me, bitch," and
Yeah.
it gets very very Maury.
Yeah, and Mikey's like, no, no, I don't want to be the father. I don't. Yeah,
That's an
and
ugly baby. That don't even look like me.
yeah, I kind of like this. I think it's a funny premise for a sketch. It wasn't like one of my all time favorites or anything, but I was like, this ain't bad. I mean, this is a funny idea.
Yeah, it's a funny idea. I liked where they were going with it. Like, I
Hmm.
like seeing all the old Maury tropes. Like,
Yeah,
I think at one point they reveal that Spooky is not the dad, and he does his little celebratory dance. The
right.
mom gets
Right
embarrassed.
after he says like, no matter what, I'm going to take care of this baby.
Exactly, and it's like, "You're not the father." Oh, thank God, God is real.
Right, right.
And
And
then
and then the kicker at the end is he's the grandmother's caregiver.
yes,
And
he's the
then
nurse.
as he's wheeling her out, he like whispers to Dismukes. He's like, "I lied about not being the father."
I'll switch the
Um,
results.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, not a bad sketch. It was all right. I thought this
mhm.
was okay.
I thought this was solid.
Yeah, like I kind of noticed that it seems like Dakota is better in the pre-tapes than she was in the live
Yeah,
sketches.
I would agree with that because I mean she's a film actress. That's
Mm,
she's used to multiple takes and stuff, and yeah, so that's where her strengths are.
that's where the strengths lie.
Live
Uh,
performing, not so much.
yeah, and so after that we go into it's the return of the Barry Gibb talk show.
Very good talk show. Yep,
Here we are.
yep.
And
Um,
I
Were you excited to see the Barry Gibb talk show again?
I honestly not the biggest thing I like about the Barry Gibb talk show is the opening theme.
Yeah,
I think I just like the song "Nights on Broadway." Honestly, I think
yeah,
that
yeah,
song bangs. But everything after that, it's kind of one note. It's like the whole thing.
yeah.
It's basically Barry Gibb, played by Jimmy Fallon, is just like this
Hmm.
hothead, sort of tyrannical host of
Yeah,
the talk show who talks
and
politics.
he's also doing like sort of falsetto thing
Yeah.
while he's
So it's him going on
it,
angry rants while in a falsetto
yeah,
voice like
yeah.
that.
I looked it up. They've done this sketch like 6 times before.
Hmm.
They first did it October 11th, 2003. So 20 years
Damn.
of this sketch. We've had more than 20 years of this sketch. This was the seventh time they did it on SNL. They also performed this sketch on a 2010 episode of Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. So they've really done this sketch 8 times.
Mm.
And they have the real Barry and Robin Gibb cameo on the Jimmy Fallon version.
Okay. I mean, before Robin's
Um,
passing, I'm sure.
yeah, Robin died in 2012, and they've done the sketch 2 more times since then.
Yeah, that's another thing I thought was kind of weird. It's like, oh,
One
but
of the people we're parodying is freaking dead now, and we're still doing it.
Yeah, I was like, is this cool to do?
Yeah,
Still?
I don't know. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
the sketch is because it's so familiar and it's become so formulaic at this point. Like I feel like any random audience member could have written the Barry Gibb talk show sketch, and it would have been pretty much the same as this.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I know a lot of people maybe were looking forward to it. Like as soon as we heard that Timberlake was going to be in this episode, we even said, I think, on the last episode,
We did.
"Oh, is there a chance that Fallon or Sandberg will come back?" And
Yeah.
sure enough,
And
Fallon.
I said, yeah, it's more likely going to be Fallon because he's there in the same building.
Yeah, and yeah, it's. I mean, this sketch is pretty paint by numbers. It's
Mm-hmm.
uh, Jimmy Fallon as Barry Gibb going off the handle, screaming at everybody. All the other people in the sketch get literally 2 words in before Fallon just cuts him off and goes
Yeah.
flies off the handle and does his
Yeah.
thing. And yeah, and then Timberlake as Robin Gibb, like just kind of says a few words and
Monosyllabic responses.
right, and then kind of
You're
harmonizes
talking
with him.
about chest hair and crazy cool medallions and
Yeah. I will admit, like you can sort of see like Fallon's age start to show because like when they first did when they did the opening to the theme song and then they sat down, it sounded like Fallon was like really out of breath for a lot of the
uh-huh.
sketch. Like he was like like he was breathing heavy, like he just ran a marathon. Like he was just
Well, how old is Fallon now?
I would say it's got to be maybe a couple years older than me.
Yeah, so he's somewhere in his 40s.
I would say he's pushing 50 if I had to guess.
Yeah. Okay,
But I'll look it up.
Let's see. Yeah, he's 49. He's
Oh
49.
wow.
He's pushing 50. Yeah,
But
he's 50 in September of this year.
I mean, what about you? Have you ever thought the Barry Gibb talk show sketches were good?
I enjoyed them back in the day.
Okay.
I wasn't like clamoring to see more because again we've seen it so often. You know, they after they do a sketch a half dozen times, it's almost like a Mad Lib sort of thing. We're just plugging in new names.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit.
He's like, yeah, don't hassle me. I'm Barry F. And get
Yeah, I mean,
it's not. It's never surprising at this point, and
it's
comedy's about surprise. So
yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it is funny to hear them to hear Barry Gibb go off on a rant and then he just switches immediately to singing with his with Robin, and then the two of
yeah,
them have like nice little harmonies together. Like he made like a Saltburn reference that got a huge applause from the audience because they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
Saltburn, I know that thing."
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it had
Clapter.
yeah,
We agree with this thing. We recognize that reference.
yes,
Yay!
exactly.
Yeah,
So I mean, it had its moments, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it kind of relies a lot more on nostalgia in order to get it
yeah,
across.
yeah. I agree. I agree.
But yeah, guys, listen to Nights on Broadway. That's a dope track.
I'm not sure if I've ever listened to the original song. Honestly, I think I might only know it from the parody version.
It's good. I think it's kind of like a
Talking
deep
about.
cut. I don't think it's like one of their, it's not like on a
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live or Saturday Night Fever soundtrack or nothing.
See,
But
I've never been a big Bee Gees fan. I'm not a big falsetto guy.
oh come on, man,
So
that Saturday Night Fever soundtrack is a banger. What are you talking about?
look, I mean, technically they're great singers. They had some great harmonies. I just don't like most of their music. Honestly,
More than a woman. More than a woman? Come on. Come on.
You know,
More than a woman to me. Oh, shit. Shit slaps.
I'm just not a big Bee Gees fan, man.
All
I
right.
mean, I like some of their earlier stuff where it's like the Beatles influences are a little more apparent. But
Oh, yeah.
I remember a few years ago, like after I watched the documentary about the Go Go's, a friend of mine was like, "Oh, if you like that, you should watch the documentary about the Bee Gees." And I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't really want to know more about the Bee Gees."
Okay. All right. Yeah, they were more like when they started out, they were like more like folk singers,
Yeah, yeah,
and then they came out with the old disco and came out with like "How Deep Is Your Love"
yeah,
and "Night Fever," and shit changed.
yeah.
All
I remember that Jive Talking song is all right.
yeah, hell yeah, jive talking. What?
That's a good song. I'll give him that. I'll
All
give him
right.
Jive
All
Talking.
right. There we go. We found some common ground.
Yeah, all right.
But
I
yeah,
mean, I'm sure if you sent me like some Bee Gees songs that were more off the beaten path, I'd be like, yeah, that's a good song.
okay, fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, this sketch, I don't
Yeah.
know. Next up, we have another pre-tape. Please don't destroy roast.
Roast. Yeah. Please don't destroy roast. So yeah, it's SNL writing night. Dakota Johnson comes into Please Don't Destroy Boy's office, and they're like, "Oh, okay. So here's what we're thinking. One of us will play your boyfriend." And she's like, "Oh, what? So I'm playing somebody brain damaged? Is it a Make a Wish thing?" She's just like really coming in hot and insulting him right off the bat.
Right. And then they're like, "Hey, did we do something to insult you? What's all of the, what's all the anger?" And he's like, "Oh no, there's no anger. I just, I've always wanted to meet the lonelier island."
Yeah, great line in
That's a
there.
line.
That's a line.
And yeah, then she closes the door, and then the I almost said the lonely island. The
Yeah,
Please
the
don't just
Lonelier Island. Yeah,
lonely island and Dakota Johnson commence to spitting barbs and
yeah.
roasting each other.
They
And
talk about Madam Web and they say, "Oh, is her superpower whispering in monotone?" I'm like, "Damn, that's good.
that was a good
That's good."
one.
Yeah,
Uh, I like how Dakota Johnson brings up the fact that no one saw their movie, the
yeah.
which we did an episode on about. Guys, go back and listen to that.
We did the Please Don't Destroy Treasure of Foggy Mountain. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Yes. Ooh, I still remember titles months
Right.
after we recorded an episode.
There we go.
Boom.
We're doing it. And then
Yeah,
she talked about how no one saw their movie, and then they say, "Well,
yeah,
more people will see our movie than Daddy-O." And then she says, "Oh, Daddy-O, is that who you call to get your job?"
yeah.
So we're getting some nepotism jokes in here. All right.
Yeah, yeah, and then they go there, and then they're like, okay, yeah, sorry, Nepo Truce, and, and she says, yeah, Nepo Truce, and they join rings,
And I like how Ben is the only one who can't do it.
right?
He tries to do it. He's like, "No, you just get out of here."
Yeah, he's left out because he doesn't have a famous parent.
A foot in the door and so much more.
Yeah, that was good.
I like
I
that.
like that, and I like that they went there.
Yeah, it
I,
feels like they just kind of pulled up all the stuff that people have been saying about them on social media and put it in the
right,
sketch.
and all the stuff that people have been saying about her.
Yes.
And I loved her line towards the end where she says, you three look like the last three guys a lesbian sleeps with before she comes out." I mean, there were some savage burns in here.
That was pretty good. And I think
Yeah.
John even said back, "I'm going to change your cue card so you say the N word during your monologue."
Yes, that was great. And then they immediately acknowledged, okay, that was probably going too far.
And yeah, but at the end of the sketch, they all make up. It's like, "I'm sorry, I don't even know why I said all those things. I actually like you guys. You guys are
Mhm.
fantastic. I've always loved workaholics."
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you!" I nearly said "you son of a,"
Yeah.
but yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was great stuff. Sketch of the night for me,
Sketch of the night by far.
by far,
This
by
is
far.
this
This is the one that genuinely made me laugh the most.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the one that had energy, it had escalation, it had everything a lot of the other sketches were missing. This
Hmm.
was by far hands down sketch of the night.
And again, pre-tape, so Dakota Johnson was much better in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very much
because
so.
you could edit a performance or direct her more, in the moment.
Absolutely.
So,
Next up, I feel like I might need to say something about this one. Big Dumb Cups.
Big Dumb Cups. What do you got to say there, Darren?
Well, did you see our Twitter page or my Twitter uh my Twitter page about this?
Oh, I'm supposed to follow you on Twitter.
Wow. This is how
No,
we find it.
I don't think I did. Let me look this up. I've got the SNL Nerds feed up at the moment, but I don't think I saw a specific thing you said.
Okay.
So let me give me a second. Let me go there.
Okay. All
And
right.
yeah, if you wanna tell me what.
Okay, so basically, what happened? Our good friend of the podcast, Minette Moratti,
Hmm.
posted something up on about 5 days ago. She put out a
Oh yes, yes.
she,
Okay, I remember
yeah,
this now.
she put out a tweet saying, "Wait, hold on, let me see if I can
Yeah, she
find it."
said SNL needs to mock the Stanley Cup craze with white women this episode, or it'll be too late.
And then I saw that, and that immediately made me think of the Big Dumb Hat sketch they did during the Amy Schumer episode. So
Right, which was from November of 2022. Yeah.
right. So I replied to her, "Oh yeah, they could do Big Dumb Hat, but with cups."
Right. Yes, I did see this. I didn't realize that was what you were referring to.
That's the
Yeah.
one. So I said, "Oh yeah, they could do Big Dumb Hats with cup."
Hmm.
And son of a bitch.
Yeah. And you said this yesterday on
No, what?
Saturday.
I said this like 5 days ago, 5 or 6 days
Oh,
ago.
okay. No, all right. So, you retweeted this yesterday. Okay,
Yeah, I
this is
retweeted yesterday because like Monette put it out a couple days ago. So like
so. This was like Tuesday. You said this
yeah, yeah.
Tuesday before the show.
And son of a bitch, they.
Hmm.
I'm not saying, hey
Hmm.
man, hey man, hey. Wow.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying like they stole from me or nothing, but it is like when I saw them doing the Big Dumb Cup sketch, like my eyes widened like they'd never widened before. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
But then again, like it is a pretty easy thing to think about because, like, as we know in SNL, they do like to kind of recycle and repurpose sketches, and
And
the
they also like doing wholly unnecessary sequels to sketches that weren't that great the first time.
Garrett from Hinge.
And Big Dumb Hats, which, I mean, this week when they called back to the previous sketch, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I don't remember liking this, but I remember this.
Right. So for those who don't know, basically like the latest craze is the Stanley Cup thing. It's basically this company called Stanley making these like basically big travel mugs for adults. They're basically like kind of thermos sippy cups for adults. And they somehow became like the big must have trendy thing of the year. And like people are spending like 40, $50 for these big sippy cups. And like they're very trendy around white women. So they just took that Stanley Cup trend and just merged it with the old Big Dumb Hat sketch, and now we have Big Dumb Cups.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was. I mean, yeah. I mean, for the most part, there was a couple of good lines here and there, like saying, "Oh, it's more than just a cup; it's a big cup."
I wish if you could have predicted a sketch for this week's show, I wish that you and Minette could have specified, oh, it should also be funny.
Yeah, that's the thing. It kind of goes on and
I
on.
wish you had that caveat.
I,
Um,
to be honest, that should go without saying, but
and apparently needs saying.
I guess so.
It apparently needs saying. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just kind of just like a bunch of lines of white women tropes, like saying, "Oh, I could fit an entire bottle of Josh in this Stanley Cup. Get in there,
and
Josh."
Dakota Johnson's getting increasingly bigger and bigger cups throughout the sketch because ha 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 ha, big funny prop.
Yeah,
Um,
uh,
this honestly, this was I thought this was god awful. This it to me this felt like a sketch that you'd show in a film that had a parody of SNL. This would be the sketch that you would show to show how bad the SNL like show is in the world of this movie.
yeah, it felt. And the thing about the sketch is, it's not a long sketch, but it feels long.
It felt like an eternity. Yeah,
Like
it
that
was.
them talking like at one point Dakota Johnson pulls out an a cup looking like an UGG boot, and it tastes like a
Yeah,
foot. And
yeah,
then Chloe pulls out a cup that is pregnant with another cup.
yeah.
And
4 minutes 13 seconds feels like twice that.
yeah, and then Heidi pulls out a cup that has her grandmother's ashes in it.
No, it's going to have her grandmother's
Oh, it's going
ashes.
to have. I thought it did.
Yeah,
All
she's
right.
not. No, she said like, oh, she's not dead yet, but when she goes, this is where they're gonna go.
Okay. Yeah, and then like Marcelo comes out and talking about how big dumb cups are for guys too. Then he sips out of one. Then Dakota says,
Yeah.
"Oh, you sound like a baby on a tit. Get out of here, baby on a tit, John. Baby on a tit." Yeah, this it had a couple humorous lines, but for the most part, like a lot of the jokes kind of fell flat with the audience. You can hear,
Kinda.
yeah, again, you can hear that
Just you could hear a pin drop
the
for most of this sketch.
yeah, it was.
This was I don't know what. Why do they want to follow up these sketches that didn't do so hot the first time?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if the audience. It's again, this is like the same thing that happened last week. Like, is the audience kind of dead, or the sketch is really not good, or is it a mixture of both? But yeah, a lot of these jokes just really were just, whoo, boy.
Yeah,
Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake doing his musical guesting stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he did two songs.
yes, he did the song "Sanctified" with Toby Wigway, who's like a,
Weegway, that's how we say it. Okay.
yeah. I looked it up. I wanted to make sure I said it right, but yeah, like,
Yeah, it's Nwigwe. So I look at that and I, as a white person, immediately intimidated.
but yeah, like
Um,
I know I've heard of Toby Wigway. Like, I know he's like sort of a up and coming like rapper singer.
mhm.
He has like a Nigerian background, but he's from Houston, and like he's been nominated for Grammys. He's kind of like up and coming, like the kind of like the hot new thing.
Okay.
And then Timberlake also did the song "Selfish." Both these songs are going to be on his upcoming new album, "Everything I Thought It Was," which comes out on my birthday, March 15th.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, so we're still like about 6 weeks away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So okay. All right.
Um,
What'd you think of his new stuff?
it's all right.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was. I mean, I'm like, he Justin Timberlake, incredibly talented guy. It just a lot of his music's not quite to my taste.
Yeah, like a lot of songs don't really have these two songs. They don't quite have like the hooks that his older songs had, like the "Sexy
Yeah,
Back."
it's there's no suit and tie in there.
Yeah, I mean they're okay, they're fine, they're grooving, they're
Yeah,
bopping, but they're not the earworms that his older stuff was for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And like I know he kind of needs that because he's kind of fallen out of favor with a lot of people, and it's been a while since he's had a big radio hit. Like his last album that came out, "Man of the Woods," was pretty panned.
Hmm.
So he kind of needs that big, that big renaissance, that big resurgence. I don't quite know if this is going to be it, but the two songs I thought were okay for the most part.
Yeah, I thought they were okay. I mean, I'm always impressed with. I was impressed with like the dancing and the production and all that. If you asked me to hum one of those songs right now, like a couple hours after I heard them, yeah, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, no, same. Like they're kind of not. They're they're songs that are good, but they're not memorable. They're just
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, I remember that song being okay,
yeah,
and
and a great pop song just worms its way into your brain. Like whether you like a pop song or not is really almost immaterial. It's really just all about how catchy it is.
yes, will it leave your brain?
Yeah,
Will it stay in your mind and fester like a parasite? That's the key to true success.
right. Yeah, you want you want like a Beat It or something like that.
There you
I
go,
mean, that song's been in my head since like 1982, so
and it's never leaving.
it's never leaving. I can call it up instantly, just like that.
Absolutely. But yeah, these two performances, I really don't have much to say about them. I thought they were okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just impressed with how they seem to like build this whole expensive set with like lighting effects and everything for the musical guests. It used to just be the musical guest would just every musical guest would be on the same stage at home base or just to the side of home base.
Yeah,
Um, and now it's like a completely different space for everybody.
yeah. Like remember, like when Billie
So
Eilish did it, they like built a whole room for her that rotated,
yeah,
and
and we got dry ice, we've got like movie screens projecting shit behind them. It's nuts. Yeah, there's all sorts of nutty stuff.
yeah, no, it's a whole thing. It's a whole Misha Gosh
Yeah, it really is.
behind him. So weekend update, Jost Che.
Shay, like the joke they had early on, they were talking about how Trump was ordered to pay 83.3 million in damages
Ooh,
to uh, Carol, um, and and, they, and and just said, it really just shows how unlikable Trump is because OJ only had to pay $33 million for a double murder, and then we hear Jay say off camera, and he didn't even do it either.
and Joe's like, yeah, well, all right. I mean,
Yeah, kind of love that.
that was pretty great.
I'm kind of surprised that SNL restrained themselves enough on the Trump thing to not even comment on that story until Weekend Update.
Yeah, like I thought that would have been the cold open if anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that shows you how badly received last week's cold open was with Trump.
Yeah.
When James Austin Justin comes out as Trump and like nobody claps or like, remember when like Dana Carvey was the first President Bush or Will Ferrell was the second President Bush? When they came out, people were like, "Oh yes, oh awesome, yeah," because they were so pumped to see that impression, and we're just so exhausted with Trump, where it's just like, oh god, I don't
Yeah.
even want to see that guy parody.
It's always like when a recurring character comes out to no applause,
Yeah,
that's that's bad.
that's a sign.
That's a sign. That's a sign like, all right, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore.
That's a cue that you should back off a little bit, maybe.
Absolutely. So as far as Che jokes go, I did like the joke he had about how the British museums will return the looted artifacts back to Ghana, but
Uh-huh.
there's nothing they can do about the people that were looted from Ghana.
Yep, that's a solid joke.
Oh, solid jokes, groans from the audience.
Yeah, which Jay's favorite reaction. That's his fuel. That's
It's,
I'm convinced when Che gets half laughs, half groans, he doesn't need to eat for a week.
yeah, it sustains him.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, overall, not bad jokes from Justin Che. Not too shabby,
Mm-hmm.
I thought. So yeah, next up we have a death segment with Bone Yang as a guy named Ethan talking about the Oscars.
Yep. All about the award shows and stuff. This was, I don't know. I don't have much to say about this. It was a Bowen character doing his Bowen thing.
Yeah, I thought
It was fine. It was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
I didn't hate it either. I think he was trying to say something about how, I mean, especially nowadays with like when people, do reviews on movies and comments, especially like the younger generation, they tend to really like movies that speak to them directly or like that they can relate to. Like if they're
Mm-hmm.
not involved in being able to relate them to the movies, particularly, they don't really think it's a
Right.
good movie.
This is outside my experience, therefore it is bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I have
Yeah.
seen a lot of people do that online where they say, "Oh, this movie was great. It was just like something I did," or "I love this movie because it was just like how I think. It's just like me. This TV show is just like me." So I
Yeah.
think
And,
Bowen was
and
taking that.
yeah, and I get that. I mean, because yeah, a movie can really speak to you if you can relate it to something directly in your life. But I mean, the beauty of movies is also that it gives you empathy and it lets you walk in another person's shoes for a while and see things that are outside your own life experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I
And,
agree. That's how it should be. But it seems like more and more people are they want to include themselves in the movie so much that they're
mhm.
like they only kind of give, yeah, I guess, credence to movies that are just like their experiences.
Right.
Which was kind of what Bone was doing in this death segment. I feel like I did like the part where he brought up the in memoriam and there was like no one
Yeah.
there,
And he
and
says, "No one I know died
no one I
this
know
year."
died
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
great day for Ethan.
Yeah. I should give this sketch another look. I didn't rewatch it before we started recording, so it's not as fresh in my mind as it should be. So
Yeah, but like I thought
yeah,
this was
sorry about that.
okay. Like I kind of
Yeah.
see what he was doing. I don't quite know if he got there, but I appreciate the effort. I appreciate like him trying to do a little bit of commentary, but at the
Hmm.
same time like trying to make it funny, like talking
I
about
I think this is a character that could develop into something in the future if you wanted to. If you wanted to give this another shot, I wouldn't mind. I don't
yeah.
think.
No, I agree. I would like to see this to be a little bit more fleshed out in the future. Like
Right.
I see what you're doing, Bowen. I see it and I respect it. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you quite got there, but I think you're on
I
your
don't know
way
if I
there.
like you, but god damn it, do I respect you? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then next up, we have clairvoyant Jan Janby doing a
Yeah.
tarot card reading. Jan Janby, played by the great Heidi Gardner.
the great Heidi Gardner. This was fun. I like this. She's doing a tarot reading, and it's supposedly about the 2024 election, but she's coming up with things that are very specific to Jay. And we seem to have like we had these cutaways, but they were like overhead shots of her actually drawing the cards.
Yeah, we got to see the cards. Like, I guess they just stuck a camera on the overhead, so we got to see what they were.
Yeah, I mean, because like it was perfectly synced. I would have thought that they would have just done this as like pre-filmed cutaways, but I was like, oh no, this is too close to her emotions and the delivery on that, and so
Yeah,
kudos to whoever had to keep track of what order those cards were in to make sure that the right cards came up at the right time.
yeah. No, the whole sketch depends on it.
Yeah, exactly. And she draws a newsman card which has like an image of a black man at a news desk that looks a lot like Che. Then she draws an hourglass, and then and he's like, "Oh well, I have a new hour comedy special coming up. Maybe it's something about that." And then the next card she draws is a toilet. So she's like, "Well, maybe this is how the special's going over. Maybe this is where your career is going to go. I don't know."
Yeah.
But yeah, all the tarot readings are unusually specific.
Yeah, I did like the next tarot reading where she pulls out another picture of the newsman, Michael Che. Then she pulled out a card saying the river of coins. So I was like, oh, this is like the
Yeah,
flow of money that you
yeah,
have that's going towards somewhere. So then she pulls out 3 more cards. It's a picture of a fan, a picture of a
right.
fan, a picture of a fan. And she goes,
Yeah,
huh,
she's like, it's only fans. Huh?
ah, get
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
I thought that was kind of clever. I was like, okay.
That was, and and she was like, well, that's not untrue. Um,
I wish that didn't make sense, but it does.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then it ends with them doing another tarot card reading of her pulling out a newsman card, a beautiful
hmm
woman card, and a wedding card. And
right,
then she pulled out another card. It's a catfish, and it turns out Michael Che is
right,
going to get catfished by a beautiful woman to get married. And then she pulls out
right.
another card. It's a card of Colin Jost.
Yeah, and it's an actual, it's an actual image of Colin Jost, not a photograph. If it was a photograph of Colin Jost, that might have been even funnier. But the card is actually labeled Colin Jost.
He appears in a lot of people's like fortunes, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Um, this was cute. I like this.
Yeah, this was all right. I thought this was cute. Heidi sells it. She gets kind of
hmm
wacky and goofy with it, has fun with it. I
hmm
was like, all right, this put a smile on my face.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
overall weekend update, not too bad.
Not too bad.
All right, uh, book club.
Okay, uh, let's
Let's stop
let's power through the last bit of this stuff.
let's stop having fun because we got to talk about book club.
We, yes, the joyfulness is over, as they say in Ghostbusters too.
Slam on them brakes because the
Yeah,
fun train is coming to a halt.
yeah. The fun train is not only coming to a halt; it is derailing
It is
and crashing into the station.
it's off the tracks, crashing into the sea. Millions of
the
lives
the
lost.
the tracks are closed for the next week as they repair the damage and they pick the corpses out of the wheels of the train.
Wow, this got dark.
Yeah, that's how unfunny this sketch is.
Uh, so yeah,
Book club.
I'll I guess I'll talk about it. So it's like
All right, you'll take the bullet. Okay.
yes, book club. It's all the women in the cast. They're together for like a book club reading.
Yep.
Dakota Johnson is there, but she can't focus on the book because
Yeah, she didn't read the book.
she didn't read
Yeah.
the book because she's distracted about
hmm
getting a call from Shark Tank. So she's going to be on Shark Tank, and everybody's
Shark
like,
Tank, the TV show where the entrepreneurs they pitch their $1 million idea, and then the team of investor people say, "I like this idea. I'm going to invest in it, and I'm going to give you X number of dollars to do it." Or they're like, "No, this is a bad idea. I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to give you anything, and we're going to dump you in a tank full of sharks." Now,
I
I've never
I
seen the
don't
show.
think sharks.
I
Are
don't know how the
involved.
show goes.
I don't think sharks are involved, John. I don't. I mean,
Well, they don't feed these potential entrepreneurs to sharks. Then what the fuck are we even doing here?
like legally, you can't even do that. I don't think. I don't think.
If we're not killing capitalists with horrible get rich quick ideas, why is that even a show?
I I don't
What
know.
is that show for if we're not killing people with bad business ideas?
I think you're thinking about the dark web.
I mean, I thought the entire point of that show was to thin out the gene pool a little.
No, not yet, not yet.
Damn it.
Maybe in the
Okay.
fu're not ready yet. We're not there yet. So
Because if you had a show like that, I'd fucking watch it.
yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
You're scaring me, man. But yeah, so
I'm just saying that I think most of the people who are on that show, or most of the people on most reality shows in general, are probably horrible and deserve to be fed to sharks.
Jesus Christ, this okay, yeah, so Dakota Johnson, she's gonna
Tell me that wouldn't improve The Bachelor.
it couldn't hurt,
Yeah.
wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
So Dakota Johnson, she has an invention that she's gonna pitch on Shark Tank. Her friends ask her what it is, and it's a T-shirt that says, "Don't ask me if I'm okay, but if everyone starts asking if I'm okay, I might start crying."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the friends are confused.
And dead silence to that reveal.
Yeah, the audience is just like,
Dead silence. Yeah, like a tumbleweed drifted across the stage.
so then her friends ask her about the shirt, saying, "I don't get. Is that like what is that shirt?" And then one of them gets it,
Yeah.
and then Dakota
And
Johnson
then it
starts.
meanders more, and yeah.
Then the friend starts insulting. Then Dakota Johnson starts insulting her friend, saying, "Oh, you're jealous
Yeah.
that this is $1 million idea. We won't. The friendship dynamic will change, and we won't be in your stinky house anymore." And like, "Oh, you get it. You might be ugly, but you're smart." And yeah,
Yeah, I think this was around the point I wrote, Dear God, end my pain.
yeah, and so
Shirts.
then the friends start asking one of their friends, Heidi, like basically taking the advice of the T-shirt, asking her if she's okay. Then they
Yeah, and they
all
ask her over and over, and then she finally breaks down crying. She's like, "Oh yeah, my husband's been out of work for months, and
yeah, and then the friends see, oh, the T-shirt works, and one of the friends, Ego, said, "I'll invest in your T-shirt. I'll give you 400K for 20% stake." And then Barbara Corcoran, one of the judges from Shark Tank, comes out saying, "I'll give you
yeah,
500K for 10% of your T-shirt."
yeah." And
And
then dark-haired guy from Shark Tank comes
Mark
out.
Cuban, also from Shark Tank, also one of the
Okay,
judges.
that's his name. All right, he has a name. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Mark Cuban. He's like the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He's got a ton of dough.
Okay,
But yeah, he also
I'm going to do my best to try and forget that now that you've told me that,
okay.
because those brain cells have to have a better use than
They
remembering the name of Mark Cuban.
got it. But yeah, then he said, "Well, what about a cool mill for that T-shirt?" Then she says, "It's a deal." End of
Aren't
sketch.
there three judges on Shark Tank? Though, are those two the only regulars, and they have a guest judge, or do they have a third judge that they couldn't get for the cameo for
No,
some reason?
there's usually how many judges? There's usually like 5 judges, and there's usually
Five. That seems like way too many.
no, yeah, there's about 5 judges, and like there's usually like 4 of them that are mainstays, and then
Okay,
there's like there's like maybe a
a
fifth judge.
rotating fifth.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's like a rotating fifth judge. But yeah, like Barbara Corcoran and Mark Cuban are usually there for the most part. They're pretty well known for Shark Tank.
right.
But
I mean, I recognize. I've never watched the show, and I recognize that. I was like, "Oh, those are the Shark Tank people."
yeah,
And yeah, the audience was like, "Yay, it's people we recognize."
yeah, that's the only applause that gets any or that gets anything from the audience in the sketch where they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I recognize those people."
yeah,
Because this sketch was what the
dire.
fuck?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. God awful. God awful.
I like it. I mean, the premise itself isn't strong enough for a sketch. The premise
Well,
itself
like
is weak. It's a very weak premise.
it needed to be a more aggressively dumb idea.
Yeah, and also,
It needed to be,
I
I don't
mean,
know, just something so out there. You were just like, oh, why would anyone want that?
yeah,
Um,
I mean,
and this was just an bad idea. So therefore, the sketch was just kind of
yeah, and also again, Dakota does this thing where like there's like a lot of awkward pauses that
Yeah,
she
she
does.
just doesn't have comedic timing, man.
Like her timing was off, and
Yeah,
the pacing was off, and
yeah.
again, like in between those weird pauses, you can hear the audience just not giving a fuck or just not wondering
Yeah,
what the
you
fuck is
could.
going on.
If you were like, what is the sound of not giving a fuck? you should play them the pauses in this sketch. And he was like, it's the sound this audience is making. That is the sound of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, it was just so awkward. Like she really they just drains the energy out of all these sketches, like this and the waitress
Yeah.
sketch. She just
Yeah.
like sucks the life out of. I mean, again, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but like it's
No, I mean, that's just an amazing fringe benefit of this. But yeah,
yeah,
please go on.
but she just like, oh my god,
You know, just not live sketch comedy, not her forte.
not at all. I was just like,
And
what the what is happening? Like again, I don't know if I don't want to blame it all on her because the writing on the sketch needs.
no, I mean, it was not a well written sketch, and she was bad in it. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't want. I'm sorry, I'm not mincing words, but
it's like the sketch is bad, and so she has nothing to work with. But then again, she's also not doesn't seem to be great at sketch comedy. So it's
yeah,
like somebody who's not at
it's
great.
just a perfect storm of bad
Yeah,
circumstances. Yeah,
somebody who's not great at sketch comedy doing a not well written sketch. Like
yeah, it's just painful.
this is death.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, 10-1, lost bag.
Okay. All right. Let me take this one. You took the bullet for the last sketch.
Okay,
Let me take it for this one.
here we
We
go.
got Delta baggage claim. Uh, Dakota is there with Michael Longfellow, and she's like, "Well, this was awful. He's like, our flight got canceled, and we had all these mishaps, but at least we met each other, and that's something.
Oh,
Yay!" And we're like, "Oh, it's like some sort of meet cute." And then she gets up to the desk to get her lost bag, and we've got Devin there.
yeah,
He's basically doing Keenan doing a Keenan Thompson character.
yeah, it's like some wacky character. He has his hair in a ponytail, talking with a
Yeah, he's
lisp.
got an ascot. He's got
The
yeah.
lisp.
Hello, I'm doing my Keenan voice. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm doing my key. Like the lisp is
yeah,
strong. It's
yeah.
he's definitely. This seems like he's pitching for this to be a reoccurring character.
Well, it felt like they wrote this sketch for Keenan, and then Keenan got a phone call, and then they were like, "Devin, you're doing this. Just do what Keenan did in rehearsal." And that's what it felt like for half the sketch. And he's like, "Well, you have to prove that this is your bag, miss. So there's a diary inside. What did the last entry say?" And her last entry was about meeting this guy on her flight, but she's afraid he's poor. And
Yeah,
then Michael Longfellow gets offended, so he goes away. Oh, and also like she has extreme Imodium for diarrhea,
unusual diarrhea.
unusual diarrhea. And then Keenan comes out for the least surprising walk on ever, and he's like, "Hello, I am the father of Devin's character." Ugh.
Yeah, then it's like the two of them doing the character and the voice, and
Yeah,
it's like in stereo.
yeah. And they're like, "Oh, you're very attractive. Have you ever done porn?"
Like, yeah, you're so pretty, you could do pornography.
Yeah.
And
And they're like,
again,
"Oh, I'm sorry. That I didn't mean to say that out loud. That was supposed to be
there's like these pauses that Dakota takes, and like her timing and pacing
yeah,
is off, and it
yeah,
creates like an awkward silence at points.
yeah."
Like,
And
it felt like no
and
one rehearsed this.
it was just
I kind of did like,
painful to get through, man.
yeah, I kind of like the line, like, where after, Michael Longfellow's character hears about the Imodium and
Hmm.
Dakota worrying about him being poor. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna go. Like, I don't care about the
Right.
diarrhea, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, all right, that's something.
I mean, he delivered that well. I mean, he held up his end of the sketch.
Yeah, I wish they put Longfellow, like they let Longfellow anchor more sketches. Like he's got chops, but
I mean,
like,
that's a man who can do a good deadpan.
yeah, he does. He has comedic chops, but like they seem to kind
Yeah.
of give. They seem like they gave like Dakota Johnson sketches to like sort of anchor like this and the book club.
Well, I mean,
And
that's you want to give the host a nice showy part and let them get a few laughs, but I
yeah,
don't
but
think
like
that's in her skill set.
if they knew she couldn't anchor sketches, why did they let her anchor?
Why did they have her host?
Yeah, that again, like, all right, but that's
The same question we have last week is like, why is this person hosting when they have no particular comedic chops?
yeah.
I mean, is
It's
it just because they're pretty? I don't get it. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, they have things to plug, and yeah, they're pretty, but
yeah, and that's so another yeah. This sketch ends on a kind of a thud. And like I even liked how the part
yeah,
like where after they leave, Sarah Sherman comes in and she's like,
yeah,
she said, "Hey, I'm looking for my luggage." And then they say, "Oh, you're
right.
so pretty. Do you ever thought about doing pornography?" And then the audience applauses over Sarah's
Mm.
last line. Did you catch that?
Yeah, she was like, "Oh yeah, no, I've done pornography, or I'm doing pornography, or something like that." I didn't write down what she said,
Yeah,
but
but you only hear it
yeah,
because the audience is like applauding over her. Be like, "Can this be over now, please?"
yeah,
And it
yeah.
kind of ends on a thud. Yeah, this episode was.
This,
I'm
you know what? I think despite the "Please Don't Destroy" sketch and me kind of liking the home videos, I think I'm gonna have to go full Zoidberg on this episode.
all right. Let's do it.
That was bad, and you should feel bad.
Yeah, like wow. Yeah, I would say that Please Don't Destroy was a saving grace.
Yeah,
Weekend Update made me smile. Had a few laughs here and there.
it was all right. Yeah,
Home video was okay, but
home videos, and "Please Don't Destroy" were the big highlights for me. The
yeah,
rest, you can have it.
but the rest of it was like shockingly bad. Like, I mean, like Waiters and Book Club. What the fuck?
Waiters and Book Club and Lost Bag. I mean, that's a 1, 2, 3 punch that I don't think any show could recover from.
Yeah, like I thought last week's wasn't great, but this week I think it was even worse. I was like, what happened, guys?
And it's worrisome because it's the second disappointing show in a row. So it's like, okay, are we officially in a slump now? What's going on here?
Yeah, this year is not getting off to a great start. And I don't know if you noticed it, but also during the good nights, Dave Chappelle was on stage with them.
Dave Chappelle's just randomly on stage,
Yeah, I think people said like
just there for no reason. Was he in something that got cut? Was he just there catching the show? Is he acquainted with somebody?
I think people I saw online people saying like he's friends with Toby Wigway, so he was there as a guest.
Okay, okay, that makes
So
sense.
he just
I
like
was like, was there a trans person somewhere in the vicinity? And
oh
Dave
god.
Chappelle's like, I have to go there and mock them. Does he have some sort of like
like a bat
bat
signal.
signal thing? Yeah, where he's like, oh, there's a trans person I must go abuse.
He stands up like Michael Keaton in his mansion.
Exactly.
He's
He's just brooding in his Dave Chappelle manner.
Lorne Michaels puts up the signal like Commissioner Gordon.
Art Dave, there's a trans person in the audience. You have to go make them feel uncomfortable.
I'm on my way, man.
I don't know, what was that about.
I don't.
Also, why is Dave Chappelle looking so jacked? That's weird.
It is. He's.
He should be like a whisper thin, skinny lad.
This is who he is now. He's brolic and angry and bigoted and. Yeah.
It's weird. It's so weird.
This episode was.
I used to like that guy so
We
much.
all did. This it breaks my heart. It
Yeah.
really
Oh,
upsets me.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
like when I see the Dave Chappelle that was and the Dave Chappelle that is, it really bothers me. Like I
You kind of want to pluck Dave Chappelle from like the late 90s, early 2000s out of time and bring him forward to see like what Dave Chappelle is like now. Because I feel like that Dave Chappelle could take present day Dave Chappelle apart.
I if there's only way we gotta invent a time machine or something. There's a way we can.
We got to Doc Brown it. Yeah.
Yeah,
We got to.
it's your kids, Marty. Something's got to be
Yeah.
done about your kids.
I mean, that's what we need. That's what we need.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the episode, guys. Wow, this was disappointing to say the least.
Yeah. There was also that Cut for Time sketch, Horny Little Dork. Do we want to talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We got Dakota Johnson, we got Heidi, we got Chloe Trost, and they're bonding over their husbands becoming horny little dorks.
right. It's basically kind of shot like a Blumhouse horror film
Mm-hmm.
about how,
Like a movie trailer.
yeah, like a movie
Yeah.
trailer, and it's basically them talking about how like whenever they do something like mundane, like get out the shower or they're exercising in like
Right.
spandex outfits.
And it's something like inadvertently sexy, but your husband or your long term boyfriend sees it and they're like, "Oh, hey, that does something for me there," and then they start acting all dorky and
Yeah, they act like
trying to get
yeah,
laid.
and then they do like, oh, me likey the boobie. Like
Yeah,
they get weird.
yeah. Yeah, and I liked that they stopped and they talked to who was the other person that they talked to? I didn't write down the person's name.
Oh, the other guy?
Oh yeah, they talked to Bowen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. They talked to Bowen, and he was like, "Well, let me ask you this: would you like it if your husband sincerely were like, oh, you look so sexy, I must have you right now?" And they're like, "Oh no, that would be weird." They're like, "Well, that's why he behaves like that."
Yeah. I do like the fact that they came up with an answer as to why guys do that. I was like, oh, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I like that. I like that it was an actual sincere observation about human behavior in long term relationships.
Right.
I feel like this was inspired by somebody's life.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things
Um,
where they're like, hey, you know that?
Heidi's been married for a few years, so I'm going to say it's her.
Yes, it might be.
Yeah,
What's her?
it
Oh, what's
might
her
be.
husband's name? I forget.
It's Zeb Wells.
Yes. Shout out to you,
Yeah,
Zeb.
yeah.
We know what you do now. Uh,
Well, he's a comic book writer, so we also know that he's a dork.
yes, exactly. But yeah,
So
it does feel like somebody said, "Hey, you know this thing that guys do," and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that."
yeah, yeah. My husband does that, or my boyfriend does that, and yeah, and they were like, if you've been together more than like 2 years, they're doing this
Exactly.
because like the blue, you're not like the young. It's not the like the young relationship where everything's brand new and exciting. You've settled into a groove a little bit, and yeah, I like this. I thought it was cute. It was better than most of the stuff that was in the show.
Yeah, for sure. I would have definitely liked to have seen this in place of a lot of things that we had on the show
I would
today.
have bent over backwards to have this in the show. I mean, maybe they were reluctant because it was yet another pre-tape thing.
Whatever, man. Put it in there.
Maybe it was just cut for time. Yeah, I mean, cut fucking book club or lost bag for crying out loud.
Book club was just what the like. It felt like it was written by an amateur. Like what the fuck.
Yeah,
Again, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but it's just like, ay caramba. It was just boof.
yeah,
But yeah, but yeah, the little dork sketch, horny little dork that this was good. I,
yeah.
I
I mean, that was solid. It was, it wasn't too long. Didn't overstay its welcome.
yeah,
Enjoyed it.
I did. I would have much preferred this
Yeah.
over most of the things. And that's the episode, guys. We should probably go to Twitter and see what the people in the tweets are tweeting about
Let's
this
see what the
episode.
people in the tweet said. Okay, our friend Boardman gets paid at Lahati Lion. So I thought we were going to get a mid-episode with somebody pushing a terrible superhero movie. I was half right. Ooh, the shade. I love
Ooh.
it. Please Don't Destroy versus Dakota Johnson was hilarious, but they missed the opportunity doing that to Justin Timberlake. Also, personally, JT Sandler better than JT Fallon. Oh, yeah. So he's saying, I think he probably means Sandberg, right? Not Sandler.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably typo or brain fart or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Love you guys, and he gives us a little peace
Aw.
sign or a little V for victory sign.
Thank you.
We love you too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that a like right now.
All right. Also, we got
Listen to this, Boardman gets paid. Click that's me liking your tweet in real time.
Nice. Liked it in real time.
Yep.
Then we got Jacob at darkmatter_362 saying overall a decent episode. Cold open, not bad. Best we've had in a while. The monologue was meh. Waiters, I liked the weirdness, but it felt flat. Home
Yeah,
videos,
that's for sure.
home video sketch of the night. Barry Gibb went from an eye roll to being pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed it. PDD, decent. Cue card line.
Wait. Jacob had something else. He retweeted Ben Stiller.
Yeah, I saw that too. Ben Stiller gave the home video sketch a shout out.
Yeah, he said this is such a funny sketch. Everyone in it, and Mikey Day is an SNL all-time great.
Damn.
So yeah, Ben Stiller liking the home video pre-tape, and I agree. That was one of the better things in the show.
Yeah. So Jacob said PDD, decent. Cue card line got me. Big Dumb Cups. I hated Big Dumb Hats, so expectations were low, but this one was one of the best. Weekend update, solid as always. Bonus that I enjoyed the guests. Horny dork to real. Lost bag / book club. Poop emoji. Though props to Devin. though yeah.
I missed the poop emoji. That's funny.
Though props to Devin, Dakota seemed done at this point. Yeah,
Okay.
she was kind of checked out. It is
Yeah.
wow.
And let's see. I think this is somebody who's new. Lucho Blanco.
Ooh.
Says, Please Don't Destroy was brutally funny, and the Corey Show pre-tape was brilliant. The episode's best. Update delivered as it always does. The tarot card lady was very original. But with all its potential, the show should have been a 9 or a 10. I give it a 7.
You're being
That
generous.
seems very generous to me, but I'm glad you enjoyed the show more than we did.
Yeah.
Lucho Blanco.
Beamer Girl at BeamerGirl07 says Dakota was boring.
Ooh, and it has a little sleepy emoji there.
Yeah.
Damn, Beamer Girl.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, she really.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, like she just has, like you said, very wooden, no real charisma, just like very deadpan. Which I mean, deadpan can work sometimes for an actor or in sketches, but like her deadpan was like very awkward and off-putting and just.
Yeah, I think she's just wooden. Yeah. I think calling it deadpan is generous. I mean, deadpan is
it's just
deadpan is like an Aubrey Plaza or a Jenna Ortega.
She's just dead.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Oh boy. And then somebody put Dakota with the 2 bikini emojis next to it, which.
We're just hearing from the horny contingent.
I guess so.
Okay. All right. They just came to the show and therefore our Twitter feed because I guess they find Dakota Johnson really hot. So
yeah, I mean,
thanks for sharing.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, at this point, this is the second episode in a row where it's just surprisingly weak. So which makes me a little worried about the next week's episode. I have a little bit of hope just because of the host. Because the host of next week's episode, they put it out, is I wrote down how to pronounce her name so I don't screw it up. Ayo Idebiri, and musical guest J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, and Ayo, she just recently she won like an Emmy. She won a Critics' Choice Award, I believe.
Emmy and a Golden Globe.
Right, and which show is she on? I'm already forgetting.
She's on The Bear. That's where most.
The Bear. Okay, I wanted to say The Bear, and I wasn't 100% certain it was The Bear. I was like,
yeah,
is it The Bear? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, it's The Bear. That's where most people know her from.
The Bears.
The Bear, which is like I watched The Bear. It's a fantastic show, really well acted. I'm in the camp of it's not a comedy. It's definitely like a drama that has some.
But it's a half-hour drama, so therefore it is nominated in the comedy category.
Exactly. Like I put on my conspiracy theory hat a little bit and think maybe they purposely don't make it an hour so they can compete with comedies instead of actual dramas when it comes to awards.
Category.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. But yeah, it's The Bear. It's a drama, but it's a very good drama, very well acted, very good pacing, a lot of good dialogue. And in the second season, you see there's some big name like cameos that are in it that do some really good work in it.
Because it's about the restaurant business and all that.
Basically, yeah, it's basically about the restaurant business, but it's all about family and this guy who is kind of being burnt out on both ends, like supporting this like small family-owned restaurant in Chicago. But it's really well done, really well acted. I highly recommend everybody check it out. But yeah, Ayo kind of burst out on the scene from this. But she actually has a big background in comedy. She's actually did stand-up comedy in New York like 5 or 6 years ago.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Cool. She did stand up in New York. She you can see some of her stand up online. Like she did some stuff for Comedy Central. She interned at UCB, and
cool.
here's another little fun fact. She actually ran a show and hosted a show in Brooklyn with Ben Marshall from Please Don't Destroy back in the day. So she knows one of the PDs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So we'll probably be assured of seeing another good Please Don't Destroy sketch.
Yeah, absolutely. She also wrote for the animated show Big Mouth, which she I don't know if you remember back a while back, there was like that little controversy where Jenny Slate was voicing like a black girl on the show. Then
I remember that. Yeah. Yes, I do. I remember that scandal.
There you go. Ayo is the one that replaced Jenny Slate to do the voice.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And then
all right, cool.
Yeah, she also wrote on What We Do in the Shadows. And then last year she had like a pretty big banner year because she did a voiceover In the new Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem, she played April O'Neil. She did a voiceover in Across the Spider-Verse. And she was in 2 comedies that a lot of people really liked, the Gen Zers, the young folks. The movie Theater Camp and Bottoms, which also stars Punky Johnson. So
Yeah, I've heard of Bottoms. Yeah.
yeah. So she has a big.
I mean, both the concept in general and the movie by that name.
Hey now.
Yes.
Yeah, so she has a big background in comedy, and she seems to know a lot of the people in the SNL cast, and a lot of people online are really excited to have her. So just based on that, that's like the only thing giving me hope that next week is going to be a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they can't make a good episode with this, then I'm really nervous. But yeah, Io Idebiri. Like hopefully this is
Okay,
one.
so it's somebody with comedy chops.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yeah, somebody with comedy chops, somebody that a few members of the cast know, and so they're comfortable.
These things give me hope.
These are
and I remember, from what I remember of Jennifer Lopez, she was a decent host when the time or two that she hosted.
Yeah,
she can. Yeah, she has a sense of humor about herself.
She does. She does. She hosted and musical guested twice, back in 2001 and in 2010. She was the musical guest way back in 2000 on the Alan Cumming hosted episode. And remember him?
What a combo,
Yeah.
Alan Cumming and Jayla.
And then
what did those two talk about during the week? I wonder.
What don't they talk about? And then she hosted recently with the Baby back in 2019. So yeah, she's no stranger to.
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago. She's no stranger.
5 years ago.
Yeah, she's no stranger to SNL. So like
Yeah.
I'm holding out hope. I'm feeling positive this next episode will be an improvement. I think it has to be, because these last 2 episodes were.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're.
Woof. So yeah, next week, Io Idebiri and J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah. So all right, we'll see. We'll see. I've been hurt so many times in the past.
I'm afraid to love again.
I really am. I really. So.
And yeah, unfortunately, not a great episode, but we hold out hope for next week. We live to fight another day.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's hope. And
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And that's the episode, guys. Thanks again for listening, as always, to the podcast. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, because we refuse to call it X, at SNL Nerds Show. You could donate to our Patreon at Non-Productive.com. Leave a review, please. It's been ages since anybody's done that. And as always, you can follow me on all the social media platforms at Darren Credible, DARIN Credible.
You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky at Trumbull Comic, TRUMBULL, and the word comic. So yeah, just reach out to us. Let us know what you thought of the show, if you didn't already.
Yeah,
and thank you if you did.
Yeah, let us know how this episode hurt you. And
yeah, are you impressed that Darren basically predicted the big dumb hat but with cups thing? And do you think you could have been more specific and said, make it funny?
I apologize for that. That's on me. Next time I make a prediction, I will be sure to add to make it funny. Like, Garrett from Hinge, but make it funny.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to add that caveat.
Yeah. I mean, that would be nice.
You'd think it'd go without saying, but apparently you got to say it.
I mean, remember the show we're talking about here.
Oof, wow. We like the show, people. We're fans of the show. If anybody
thinks, do. I mean, we are still fans of the show, but I feel like, I don't want to say that they're in a slump, but it feels kind of It feels like they're in hailing distance of a slump.
Yeah, like we only are critical of the show because we love it so much, and we've seen the potential it has. When it's good, it's like nothing else. So that's it. We just wanted to see it live up to its potential. That's where all this is coming from. It's not from a hater place. This comes from a place of love, man. It's all about love, baby.
75% love.
Oh boy! All right, I tried, guys. I tried. I tried to end this with a nice note, but here we go.
Look, Darren, I'm keeping it 100.
Damn, son.
All right. So anyway, we'll be back next week. But until then, nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.